Okay, so you guys have really given us some incredible material to dive into this time.
Yeah, some really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, we're going to be exploring the story of someone who just seems to operate on a totally different level.
Right. Someone who seems to defy human limitations.
Totally. And the name we'll be focusing on is David Goggins.
Oh, yeah, David Goggins.
Yeah.
That name carries some weight.
It does, it does. And, when you first hear it, it's like, oh, yeah, former Navy SEAL.
Right. That in itself is impressive.
Absolutely. But then you start digging deeper, and it's like ultramarathons world record in
It's
pull-ups.
like he's not even real.
It's almost mythical, the stuff that he's accomplished. And what's so interesting to me right off the bat is like the sheer improbability of it all.
Like where he started and where he ended up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a man who was genuinely afraid of water becoming a Navy SEAL.
Right. One of the toughest guys out there.
Yeah, someone who apparently hated running, completing these insane endurance races.
Like ultra marathons,
Right.
those are no joke.
No, no, they're not. And then you've got this whole transformation from an overweight exterminator to this like peak physical specimen.
It's like a total 180.
It really is. It really is. And so, what we're aiming to do in this deep dive is really understand what drives this guy.
Yeah, what makes him tick?
Like what fuels this level of intensity and pursuit. And I think even more importantly for our listener,
Right, for the person tuning in.
what can we learn from his story?
Like, how can we apply it to our own lives?
Exactly. About overcoming limitations, about, going after our goals with a renewed sense of purpose.
And the sources you sent over are great because they really highlight some of those pivotal moments in Goggins' life.
Yeah. They get into the mindset that made him who he is today.
So where do you want to start?
Well, let's go back to the beginning, his early life.
Let's set the stage.
From what we've gathered, it was marked by some pretty significant challenges.
Sounds like a really tough childhood.
Yeah, we're talking about an abusive, alcoholic father, real financial struggles.
Right, not an easy environment to grow up in.
Not at all. And then on top of that, he had severe ADHD.
Wow. So navigating school must have been incredibly difficult.
I can't even imagine, but it doesn't stop there.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah. The sources detail persistent bullying, the weight of racial prejudice, and even KKK attacks in his community in Indiana.
That's heavy stuff.
It is. It's a lot to process, and it makes you wonder how someone facing that level of adversity, even finds a path forward.
It's hard to fathom.
It really is. And then, fast forward to his young adulthood, we see him weighing over 300 pounds.
300 pounds.
Wow. Working as a pest exterminator, finding comfort in junk food.
It's like he was trapped in a cycle.
Yeah, and, from the outside looking in, it'd be easy to make assumptions about his potential.
Or lack thereof.
Right, but what's interesting is the sources suggest that he himself felt a sense of resignation during this period.
Like he had accepted his fate.
Exactly, a feeling of being stuck in this life that had been, almost preordained for him.
But then something changed.
Yeah, there's this massive turning point, and it's triggered by something incredibly simple, watching a documentary about Navy SEAL training.
It's amazing how these seemingly small things can have such a huge impact.
It is, and the sources describe it as this moment of brutal honesty with himself.
Like a real wake-up call.
And what stood out to you about that moment?
Well, what just struck me was the raw simplicity of his realization.
Yeah.
No one was coming to save him.
Yeah, it wasn't about waiting for external circumstances to change or for someone to come rescue him.
It was completely internal.
This deeply personal awakening, this decision to take full responsibility for his life.
It's powerful stuff.
It really is. And from that point on, he sets his sights on becoming a Navy SEAL.
Which seems almost impossible given everything we just talked about.
And for anyone who doesn't know the specifics of SEAL training,
It's brutal.
the sources really paint a picture of just how extreme the demands are.
It's designed to break you down.
Yeah, to push you to your absolute limit, physically, mentally, emotionally.
In ways that most of us can't even comprehend.
We're talking simulated torture, intense interrogations, swimming long distances in open water with your hands and feet bound.
Operating in hostile environments, dealing with hazardous materials.
It's a constant assault on your being.
And then there's Hell Week.
Oh, yeah. Hell Week, 5 days with maybe 2 hours of sleep the whole time.
Constantly exposed to freezing cold water and mud.
Just relentless physical and psychological stressors.
It's designed to weed out anyone who's not 100% committed.
So when you learn that Goggins was initially rejected by the Navy,
Because of his weight and some medical issues.
it makes the challenge he eventually undertook even more remarkable.
I mean, most people would have given up right there.
You'd think so, but his response is incredible. He loses over 100 pounds in less than 3 months.
While dealing with injuries.
Yeah, that level of commitment is mind-blowing.
It speaks to a complete mental shift.
And to not only complete Hell Week, but to do it 3 times in a single year.
That's unheard of.
The sources say it was unprecedented. It really challenges our understanding of human endurance.
And it all comes back to this idea of embracing discomfort.
This is a key theme that emerges from the sources.
Right, this idea of actively seeking out situations that push you beyond your comfort zone.
Confronting your fears head-on, dismantling those self-imposed limitations.
Which we all have, by the way.
Absolutely, and it's not just about gritting your teeth and enduring it.
Goggins takes it a step further.
He learns to actually love pain.
Reframing it as a necessary part of growth and resilience.
As preparation for the inevitable hardships that life throws at us.
Which, let's face it, is a lot.
It is, and his life becomes this constant demonstration of this philosophy.
Like a living embodiment of it.
The things he accomplishes are just extraordinary. Take, for example, running a 100-mile ultramarathon with no specific training for that distance.
Just on a whim.
Well, he did it as a fundraiser, but yeah, basically on a whim. And the physical toll was insane.
Shattered bones, kidney failure, internal bleeding.
It's hard to believe he even finished.
But he did.
He did, and then there's the world record for pull-ups over 4,000 in 17 hours after multiple failed attempts and seriously injuring his hands.
It's superhuman.
It really is. It speaks to both physical and mental resilience.
That ability to push through pain and setbacks.
And to achieve all of this while living with a serious congenital heart defect.
An aortic valve issue which puts extra strain on his heart.
It adds another layer of complexity to his story.
Like he's constantly negotiating with his own physical limitations.
But always choosing to push beyond them.
It's fascinating.
It is. It's almost a paradox, pushing his body to these extremes while managing this condition.
And the sources even mention him being pulled from the Badwater 135, one of the toughest foot races in the world.
Because he was pushing too hard.
Even for him, there were limits.
But he was always testing those limits, redefining them.
And then you've got things like completing 8 ultramarathons in 8 weeks.
The recovery time alone is insane.
It defies logic.
And his training methods are unconventional, to say the least.
Listening to recordings of insults and negative self-talk.
As motivation, it's wild.
It is, but it seems to work for him. He flips the script on negativity, using it as fuel.
A way to push himself harder.
And even with all the success he's achieved as an author, a world record holder,
he still rejects comfort. Those 3 a.m. wake-up calls to run marathons in freezing temperatures.
he never lets up.
Never settles for complacency. It's this constant state of pushing.
And it's interesting that his book, Can't Hurt Me, was created using voice recordings.
Because of his struggles with attention deficits.
Even in sharing his story, he had to overcome obstacles.
Which brings us to his central message: stay hard.
It's simple but powerful.
It sums up his entire philosophy.
This idea of unwavering resilience, of pushing through discomfort, of constantly testing your limits.
He believes that your background, your obstacles, they don't have to define your potential.
That the mind is the ultimate governor.
And that it can be trained to conquer anything.
Through self-assessment, embracing discomfort, and perseverance.
So looking at all of this, what are the key insights that you think resonate the most?
Well, for me, it's the power of self-reflection. That brutal honesty with yourself.
Yeah, that's crucial.
Also, the importance of confronting your fears head-on.
Not letting them control you.
And understanding that discomfort is a catalyst for growth.
It's where the magic happens.
And of course, the need for relentless perseverance.
Never giving up.
These are the principles that Goggins embodies.
And they show us what's possible.
When we push ourselves beyond what we think we're capable of.
So for you, the listener, think about this. What's one self-imposed limit that you might be holding on to?
Where are you choosing comfort over growth?
Maybe there's a deeper level of potential waiting to be unlocked.
It's worth considering.
It really is. It's about finding your own definition of stay hard.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, stay hard.
And keep learning.